So here we are back on the menu. We're going to continue on our file. We see 48 snagged, 48 purified. That's what we need. But we're not continuing from there. Instead, we're going into Colosseum battle. Because it's time for the Mount Battle Challenge, let's go into solo battle and go to register Pokemon. Now, something that was pointed out to me by commenters though, Trico got shafted here. There's clearly room for 3 Pokemon, but why wouldn't you use the 3 Hoenn starters if you already have 2 of them there? They replaced Trico with Pikachu. Clearly somebody who made this image doesn't like Trico very much. Anyway, like I said before, you have to use Pokemon from Colosseum in order to claim the prize here. But you can get around this by trading Pokemon from your GBA games. So I'll go with Colosseum Pokemon here, and you might notice I've already registered my team. There is a reason for that. And I'm going to have to delete the currently suspended data. Why? Well, I actually have already recorded Area 1 of Mount Battle. And then I found out only afterwards that I was recording from the wrong microphone. Yep, it was all picking up from my laptop's webcam, rather than my actual headset microphone. So, I have to do it again because it sounds horrifying. So, Mount Battle versus 100. I'm going to go to do double battle here because it's faster and it keeps things consistent with the main storyline. So, let's go. Now we're ready. And the cool thing is, you actually get to walk around in Mount Battle. It's kind of one of the rare times you get to do that in this game's battle mode. But anyway, let's move to our first area and fight our first opponent, and here you're about to see by far the most annoying thing about Mount Battle's version of battle mode. I'm mashing every button. This is unskippable, by the way. And now we have to choose 4 out of our team of 6. You have to go through this for every single fight. All 100 battles in battle mode Mount Battle. Yeah, this gets really annoying, and it just adds so much time to these areas. If it didn't have that, I honestly wouldn't mind Mount Battle battle mode. Again, like, I know a lot of people don't like it, but I don't ever consider this place tedious at all, except that the fact that you have to sit through that for every fight is what really, really annoys me about the battle mode here. See, when it's for the normal Colosseum battles, when it's only 4 fights, that's fine. But for 100 fights, no way. You know, maybe at the end of this, I'll calculate just how much time total was spent on those, because after this battle, I'm going to be cutting all of those out. But I will be calculating how long I'm cutting in total. Just like calculating the amount of time spent in loading screens in Sonic 06, I guess. So as you can see here, the Pokemon used by these trainers are very, very weak. You might have been wondering how they managed to have the earlier areas be pathetically easy despite every Pokemon matching your level. Well, this is why. They all use very weak unevolved Pokemon with very bad movesets. So I'm going to just try and speed through these early battles as quickly as I can. Mainly going for Suicune and Soul and just spamming my most powerful moves, because these 2 are probably my most powerful attackers on the team. So that's battle 1 down. You also want to make sure that you win as many early fights as possible without losing any Pokemon, and there is a reason for that, which you'll see on this screen. This is the first time you'll be seeing this, well, this is the only time you'll be seeing this screen because I will be cutting it out for every other fight. If you finish a battle without losing a single Pokemon, you get an extra continue. You obviously want to stockpile as many continues as possible because you will be losing the later battles several times, especially if you're not using EV-trained Pokemon. So, the early fights will probably let you amass a huge supply of continues. You'll probably have at least 20 or 30 by the time you get into the later areas, so it's really not that hard to complete the whole thing since you'll be able to retry the later battles pretty much as many times as you want. So, here's the other annoying thing about Battle Mode Mount Battle. You get a prompt every time you try and move into another area, but in Story Mode, the prompt is, do you want to continue? In Battle Mode, the prompt is, do you want to quit? So you have to reverse your muscle memory and choose no. It's really weird, and I have no idea why they make suspend your challenge the default option. It really should have been the same as story mode. I'll be trying to speed through these earlier battles as fast as I can. Kind of like a semi-speed run of Mount Battle mode, I guess. I wonder if anyone actually does run battle mode Mount Battle, because it actually does sound like it would be an interesting thing to speedrun. You definitely have to use EV-trained Pokemon, and they're obviously far more efficient Pokemon for speedrunning Mount Battle than the ones I'm using. But, I don't know, I mean, it'd be a cool thing to try. I mean, if only just as a fun joke category. I mean, if Worcester can do, Battle Frontier or Frontier symbols, which took over 30 hours, then, I'm sure somebody's at least attempted Battle Mode Mount Battle speedrun. That's probably not going to help you. Also, something that I should mention here, because when I was doing this with the original bad audio, the routes here survive my attack with 1 HP. Something interesting is, you actually can see the exact amount of HP that all of the opposing Pokemon have. Huh. Maybe it's just a damage range there, because there's no way that Ralts would have activated Focus Band 2 fights in a row. So the opposing trainers in these fights do have items, and you will be seeing a lot of Bright Powder and Focus Band, a lot of Hacks items, so be aware of that. Your continues thankfully do lessen the impact of losing due to Hacks though. But yeah, Focus Band and Quick Claw have no fanfare for activating in Gen 3, they just sort of happen. So, there's no real way to know whether you were just unlucky with a damage roll, or whether a Pokemon that survived with 1 HP in fact had a Focus Band. Oh. Weird defeat line there. Because there's a severe lack of good hold items in this generation, you'll see a lot of the opponents having Hacks items, which is very annoying. Now this guy, I wish he was Battle 1. You'll see the moment that he sends out his Pokemon. Magikarp and Hoppip. Yeah, you really should have been the first opponent here. These two Pokemon can both learn Splash, although they're likely to both faint before I get a chance to even use Splash. I wonder if I can try something. Magikarp is resistant to water, but actually, you know what, I might as well go for the most efficient way of doing this. Yay, 4 times weakness. Probably wouldn't be able to one-shot the Magikarp with Surf, but that's only due to the damage reduction for there being 2 opponents. I think that might be the first time you're seeing a Magikarp in this game, too. But yeah, when I first found out about the damage formula in Pokemon, there was a website that was giving examples, and well, first it did Umbreon's Bite versus Espeon, to give you an example of how that ends up lower than you'd probably think, thanks to Umbreon's kind of bad attacking stats. But then it did Kyogre Surf versus Magikarp, and it ended up... Well, yeah, Magikarp gets one-shotted. Basically. Even though it's not very effective, because Magikarp's special defense is just that bad. As I said earlier in the playthrough, Magikarp and Feebas have similar stats, but their defense and special defense are swapped. Also, Feebas can actually learn TM, so it's at least marginally better than Magikarp is. Magikarp is still fun to win battles with by Baton passing tons of boost to it, though. And I think we're about to see Disturbing Fainting animation. Yeah, so Spoink are apparently supposed to die if their Pearl falls off. Or at least they can't keep their balance, and if they're not constantly bouncing, their heart stops. Yeah. That's definitely one of the most disturbing Pokédex entries in the entire series. The fact that Spoink's heart is controlled by its bouncing, and if it ever stops bouncing, it will die. Actually, this guy has a... wait a minute, that's a girl, isn't it? Anyway, they had Meta-type, so that's something quite powerful for this area of the game. Oh no, both of you are weak to Surf. It's easy to forget that Nincada is Bug Ground. I wish there was a Bug Ground Pokemon that was, well, stronger. That would actually be a pretty cool type combination. Let's get rid of the Slugma. Something that I was saying earlier that I didn't really mention here is, in almost every competitive format, you can't see the exact HP of your opponent's Pokemon. This is one of the few times that you can. It's actually really strange, because If they did this in a real-life competitive environment, people would easily be able to deduce how much EVs people put into HP based on their HP stats. See, not even in story mode, I don't think you could see exact HP numbers. So, kind of a strange thing here. One of the few times in all of Pokemon where you're actually able to know your opponent's HP. Barboach, I think, can't have water. No, I'm thinking of Wooper and Quagsire. Or Quagglesphere, as I like to call it. Oh. That's actually bad. That ensures this battle will last one more turn. So if I was a speedrunner, I would definitely hate that. Yeah, speaking of speedruns, Colosseum and XD are interesting games when it comes to speedrunning because they're some of the few Pokemon games where you can't turn off animations. So you're forced to always have the animations on, which adds a lot of time to the game. Though interestingly enough, despite Colosseum and XD being shorter games than the main series, they end up being on average around the same time to speedrun thanks to all the animations. Yeah, because the later Pokemon games, on average, are around 3.5 to 4 hours to speedrun, and the Colosseum speedrun that I saw was 3.5 hours, and the XD speedrun was 4 hours, so they do kind of amount to the same. Actually, the XD one might have been 4.5 hours, I forget. But yeah, I actually watched that recently. It's actually kind of cool. It's pretty much Espeon and Ursaring versus the world. They're the only two Pokemon that really actively participate in most fights. So, Intimidate. More time wasting. Yeah, I've noticed in Intimidate there's a lot of lag before it hits the second Pokemon. That Snubbull might actually except the problem with that is that one not very effective with Suicune Surf, but I want to hit the Snubbull because it has better HP. Is that got a one-shot? Good, thank you. Also, Snubbull's mouth is pretty dodgily animated in this gen. It's pretty much just a flat, like it's made out of paper. This is not going to be super effective, and it's probably not going to one-shot. No, it did not one-shot, so we're going to have to see this Lotad attack something. Or not attack something. Maybe I can get through this fight without taking damage. And it'd be kind of cool if you got 2 perfect wins for getting no damage. But, I don't know, that might be a little bit too excessive. But I mean, considering how it's almost impossible to no damage the later fights, it might be a decent reward. But I mean, it's almost impossible not to no damage the early fights if you have decent Pokemon, so yeah, kind of balances out. Although, depending on how this goes, I might not no damage this one, because yeah, that Lotad's going to still survive. So what's the Lotad doing? Yep, no damage. Which is a shame. But you're... Actually, yeah, let's just do that, because... Oh, no matter what I... Actually, wait a minute. No, I... Used the... Anyway. I was supposed to take back both of my moves, use Psychic on the, that one, and use Ice Beam on the Lotad. That one. I forgot what the other Pokemon was. Marill. It's a Marill. Yeah, so this is not going to, barring, extremely... Well, maybe it will finish the battle in one more turn. I was about to say barring a critical hit, but... I got one. Not that I really needed that, but still. Also, have we fought any Glasses men during the main storyline? I don't think so. I think they're only in Mount Battle. So let's move on to number 6. And your line there is great. I'm going to be varying my lead for this fight, and you'll see why once you see her. She usually leads with it. Let's see. Yeah, so she has a Shedinja. So, obviously, I'm not going to be leading with Suicune and Espeon, because while they're both great Pokemon, neither of them, at least the ones that I have, can't... neither of them can hurt Shedinja, so that would have been a bad lead combination. However, Dan Green and Luna certainly can hurt Shedinja, so this is probably going to be a piece of cake. Okay, good, no Fire Blast, miss, that's a good start. Yeah, that's definitely one-shotting the Aaron. And obviously the Shedinja is going to get one-shotted. Makuhita has a pretty good amount of HP for a not evolved Pokemon. But yeah, that Shedinja didn't get a chance to do anything, so seeing Shedinja this early, make sure you have something in your team that can take care of Shedinja, because I'm pretty sure she always leads with it. Some AI trainers in Colosseum and XD, they are always programmed to use certain, well, to do certain combinations of moves or lead with certain Pokemon. Anyway, one thing that I want to say, Togepi. Haven't been able to show this yet, but Togepi has probably one of the most hilarious yet also really sad fainting animations in this entire game. So I'm glad that I got to show it here. Please don't fake out what. That's annoying. Forgot you had fake. Darn green! Flinched! Love the 2 exclamation marks there. Okay, you're about to see it. It's actually really sad, but it's also kind of darkly funny at the same time. You might have thick foul. Let's just go for a turn. Now, when I first recorded this, return one-shotted. And it didn't quite one-shot here, so I guess I could have got a good damage roll then. At least it almost one-shotted, but anyway, yeah, there is the, well, I wouldn't say brilliant, because it's actually quite depressing, but yeah, there's Togepi's fainting animation. Also, Swirly Eyes Makuhita. Good thing this isn't 4 kids, otherwise they would have censored those to X's for no apparent reason. So, on to 7. 7 out of 100. Yeah, this is going to take a while. And yeah, hate is a pretty strong word here. Cool Trainer Shad. It's a pretty weird name, but that's kind of part of the course. Although some of the names here haven't been quite as weird as a lot of other trainers in Ore. Although I feel like they didn't put as much effort into writing the dialogue for these trainers than they did for the story mode Mount Battle. Because story mode Mount Battle had some pretty great dialogue. But anyway, let's just... yeah, I'll probably have to Psychic that Surskit. Just because, yeah, it is still Bug Water, so it's going to take not very effective damage from Surf. This will probably be the only way I can one-shot it. And there goes Surskit. And Zigzagoon. Yeah, some very, very good Pokemon in these early areas. Yeah. Now, you think I used Assist in my first run through this? Also, that Jigglypuff has a lot of HP. And that, as sad as it is to say, did more damage than I was expecting. I was expecting like 1 per hit. Yeah, let's get rid of you. It's kind of annoying because I had a pretty good thing to say about Assist when I originally recorded this. Skitty. Okay, maybe this Skitty will get a chance to use Assist. Although, does it still work if the other Pokemon in your team are fainted? For those who don't know, Assist calls a random move from another Pokemon in your party. In some generations, Assist can call moves known by unhatched eggs as well, which is pretty interesting, but usually not that useful. Okay, good, this Skitty didn't get one-shotted. You might also notice there's no call command here, so we can't pass our turns and just let this Skitty try and do something. But you know what? I'm going to just try and let it use Assist. Just because I want to at least be able to say, like... I gave you one shot at using Assist and you didn't go for it. Okay, I'm just going to smack you now. Can't afford to waste too much time in these earlier areas of Mount Battle, so yeah, you're gone now. I guess I can say that story anyway. It's about... I haven't actually watched the Gen 3 anime, but it's regarding the one episode of the Gen 3 anime where Ash and May did a multi-battle together. Well, they're called tag battles in the anime, but anyway, I call them multi-battles because that's how the games calls them. Oh, right, that's a reference to Zigzagoon's Pokedex, isn't it? Anyway, they're doing a multi-battle. I forgot the trainers just vanish after you beat them here. And basically, yeah, so Ash's Pokemon gets frozen. And May's Skitty tries to spam, well, May tries to get her Skitty to spam Assist, thinking, oh yeah, I'll get a fire move and thaw you out. And so, of course, Assist ends up hitting every move besides Ember and making things even worse, until finally it does hit Ember. But that's pretty much just a good lesson in why you don't want to use Assist normally. It's a fun move, but it's really not that reliable. Unless you use a very specific team that I think only worked in a few generations. More wasting time. Because they changed the mechanics of it, but the thing with Assist is, it always works at neutral priority, regardless of the move that it actually calls. So, if you fill your entire team with Pokemon that only know Roar or Whirlwind, and spam Assist, then you can use Roar or Whirlwind without negative priority. So if you put entry hazards down, you can just spam Assist, get Roar or Whirlwind, and just wait for all of your opponents to faint from entry hazard damage. Although there's always the risk of Assist calling the entry hazard moves. In later generations, though, you could do this a lot better with Prankster Riolu, who could use Prankster Copycat to copy its own Roar at +1 priority, and spam that. That was changed, I think, after Gen 5. I think they caught on to that, and they made it so that, either Prankster doesn't work on Copycat, or something to do with the priority of Roar. I know they changed something to stop that strategy from working anymore. But it was kind of, like, it was actually a decent strategy. I think Riolu was even using OU a bit just for that. There were ways to stop it, of course, but it was very annoying if you weren't able to do so. And if you got rid of the L in your name, you would have the nickname of a Trails in the Sky character. Moving on to the 9th opponents. Sounds like the Pokemon Fight Ready Go guy from Gen 1. Though I think the My Pokemon is Fight guy was in Diamond and Pearl. I think the My Pokemon is Fight guy actually got removed in Platinum. I remember that Diamond and Pearl had a lot of meme references because the person who translated that also was a moderator on Something Awful for a long time. And they got rid of a lot of them in Platinum. Anyway, though, let's just take out that Clamperl, which I'm pretty sure doesn't have a Deep Sea Tooth or Deep Sea Scale, given that it's this early in Mount Battle. I mean, I don't know, it could have one. I think in, like... Oh, actually, Trick Room didn't exist yet. Clamperl was actually kind of decent in Trick Room with Deep Sea Tooth in some later generations. And it got to the point where Deep Sea Tooth did get banned from Little Cup because it made Clamperl way too good there. Yeah, I thought I wouldn't KO any of them. Yay, Thundershock! That's a great move! Yeah, see, as you can see, no matter how high level a Pokemon is, if it doesn't have good moves and it's unevolved, it's still not going to last very long against a decent team like this. I hope I don't get fully paralyzed, but I probably will. So Coughing's fanning animation is kind of weird. It's like it's trying to hold its breath for a long time and then it can't. And Geodude. Don't know if you're holding a focus band or not. If you are, you could potentially emulate your 5th gen Sturdy. And hilariously, that's probably the most damage that you have the potential to deal to me. Actually, wait, no, I think you did a bit more with Thundershock. Let's just finish off that Magnemite. Guess I can give an anecdote from when I was grinding up purification gauges in the story mode Mount Battle. So, I was grinding up purification gauges, and sometimes, like, I'd do that while I was watching YouTube videos. I'd just be having the game on in the background while I'm just kind of mashing the A button to get through things. And I'd sometimes look and find, oh, my Pokemon are paralyzed. How did that happen? I'm one-shotting everything here. And then I realized static. There's a lot of static Pokemon in the early areas of Mount Battle story mode. So, I was tripping static with Shadow Rush all the time. And here's where I'm kind of annoyed that I picked double battles and not single. So, I promised for a long time that I would show off the final opponent of Mount Battle Area 1 in battle mode because I found that they had one of the most hilarious Pokemon ever. Sadly, that's only in battle... Sadly, that's only in single battle. Also, you'll notice that the area leaders are not the same area leaders as in story mode. But yeah, just a bunch of weak flying types. In single battles, though, the area leader of Area 1 has a slacking, and normally you'd be freaking out. You'd be like, wait a minute, why do they have a slacking in Area 1? and then you realize what moves it has. You know, in case I go ahead and just show that, I don't want to spoil what moves that Slacking has, because I find it one of the funniest things in this entire game, and it's a shame that a lot of people usually miss it, because, well, not many people care about the battle mode version of Mount Battle. But it's really, really amazing. It has to be seen to be believed. It is quite possibly the worst move you could put on any Pokemon ever. Forgot that Swablu wasn't part dragon, so that was actually not very effective. Double negative there. That thing using Peck makes me think of, I don't actually have the game yet, because Super Mario Odyssey is kind of taking up all of my platformer time, but I've seen videos of someone playing a Hat in Time, and it looks like the kind of game that I'd probably get eventually, but Peck makes me think of Peck Mech, that line that is said a lot in. It makes sense in well, actually it doesn't even make that much sense even in context, but I don't know why, but I just find the term really hilarious. Especially the way the voice actor says it, because that character is really hammy. Anyway, goodbye Zubat, and you were easier than a lot of regular trainers in your area, and that's saying something. And still, just the dialogue is really boring in battle mode. Some of the trainers in Mount Battle's story mode version have some really good lines. So with that, we can move on to the next area and not get prompted whether or not to suspend, thankfully. But if we go here, you might notice a few things. No PC, you're stuck with the team you went in with for the entire long haul. Also, no Abra. Abra's functionality is taken up by the Halt option in the menu, so you can use that to go back to the main menu at any time. But let's talk to this guy and get our Poke Coupons. We get 36 Poke Coupons. Admittedly, makes sense for an area that easy. Also, I got perfect wins in every battle there, so I've got 10 extra continues now. And you also get told the total number of coupons that you've won. I'll say I'll advance, but I just want to talk about one thing before we go on. And that is that using legendary Pokemon in Mount Battle's battle mode will cut the Poke Coupons you win from each area. Unfortunately, all legendaries are considered equal for this, even though they really aren't, so Entei and Suicune are... they penalize you just as much as Groudon, Kyogre, or Rayquaza would, which I feel is a little bit unfair, but that's how it is. So because I have 2 legendaries, I'm going to be getting reduced battle points from every area now. Kind of a shame. But anyway, that'll be the end of the first area, and I've taken, as of this recording, 31 minutes and 30 seconds. So let's see how long this ends up being with cutting out all of those pre- and post-battle segments.